a Russian fighter fought an FPV drone of the Ukrainian armed forces at extremely close range. The Russian fighter realized he was being followed by the drone. He quickly got out of the vehicle and tried to shoot down the drone with his rifle. Shooting down an extremely fast-moving drone is not an easy task. Don't forget to join our Telegram group. Near Andreevka, the two S-1 Gvozdika self-propelled howitzer of the Ukrainian armed forces was camouflaged. However, even though they camouflaged the howitzer from the front, they left the rear side and even the door open. This led to the easy destruction of the howitzer. The Ukrainian armed forces were evacuating when, unexpectedly, a Russian shell landed nearby. The wounded soldiers ran away from the scene. The 39th Brigade's offensive is moving in the Pokrovsk direction towards the residential area east of the Ulyanivka settlement. As the armored vehicles moved along the road, they were constantly subjected to Ukrainian FPV drone and artillery strikes. However, the armored vehicles with enhanced protection did not run away and kept moving forward.
Don't forget to leave your opinion about the video in the comments, subscribe, and like.
When the armored personnel carrier arrived at the settlement, the infantry quickly disembarked. The armored vehicles completed their mission safely. A group of Russian battle groups found a HIMARS 30 kilometers away. Then, they followed it. HIMARS is on its way after completing its mission. That's when Russia's UAVs swooped in and destroyed the HIMARS with a few strikes. Donetsk direction. A column of 10 ATVs of the Ukrainian armed forces moved from Pavlovka, Sumy region, towards the Russian state border. Using mobile equipment, the Ukrainians hoped to pass unnoticed in the vicinity of the border village of Novy Put, Kursk region. However, the Russian artillery fired back at the Ukrainians, delivering a targeted hit to the concentration of troops. During reconnaissance in the vicinity of Vovchansk, the movement of a group of Ukrainian soldiers was revealed. Taking shelter in a garage, the Ukrainian soldiers thought they were safe. A few minutes later, a Russian FPV drone attacked the building and destroyed it. Russian troops attacked the Britannia Hotel in Kharkiv. A Jaran 2 kamikaze drone flying over Kharkiv this morning reportedly carried out the attack. The footage shows Russian troops working to repel an attack by unmanned boats. The video shows a BAK with an anti-aircraft guided missile mounted on it. This video shows how effective landing craft with machine guns are against such targets. This boat has no crew. It is remotely controlled. Russian troops are calling on the enemies in the bunkers to surrender. If they don't answer the call or open fire, there is no turning back. 2 Russian soldiers threw grenades into the bunker and opened fire with rifles. Eventually, they entered the bunker and secured it. This is how a FAB-250 UMPK hit the position of the Ukrainian armed forces. Near Seversk, the Russian reconnaissance unit detected the movement of Ukrainian armed forces infantry. The infantrymen reached a bunker on foot. The coordinates were precisely calculated and transmitted to the artillery unit. After precise adjustments by the artillery, the fire was opened. The position of the Ukrainian infantry group was destroyed. In the village of Yablonovka, the 33rd SMM UAV team destroyed the BMP-1 of the Ukraine Armed Forces with a precision FPV drone strike. Don't forget to join our Telegram group. From the border village of Pavlovka, Sumy region, towards the Russian state border, a Ukrainian armed forces column from the IMR and Western-made armored vehicles advanced. In the vicinity of the village of Novy Put, the Ukrainians were attacked. Engineering vehicles were destroyed. Soldiers of the Russian Airborne Regiment destroyed a Ukrainian Armed Forces armored personnel carrier near Tetkino on the Kursk direction. Russian FPV drones shot down a Ukrainian truck in the evening. Then, in the same direction, they hit another pickup truck coming to rescue the truck crew. This is how a soldier of the Russian armed forces blew up a bunker of the Ukrainian armed forces using an anti-tank mine in the Pokrovsk direction. The latest images from the liberation of the village of Gornal. Russian drone operators achieved great success in these operations and played an important role in the liberation of the village. Footage of combat training of North Korean soldiers participating in the liberation of the Kursk region has emerged. Earlier, Putin had thanked the special forces of the Korean People's Army for participating in the defeat of a group of Ukrainian infantry in the region. The fighting at the intersection of the Belgorod, Kursk, and Sumy regions moved to Ukrainian territory. The Northerners timely uncovered the movement of Ukrainian armed forces personnel and were hit one by FPV drones. The infantry, whose buildings were destroyed, tried to hide in the woods but failed. Yesterday, a drone strike in Cherkasy damaged natural gas infrastructure. In the village of Guevo, Kursk region, the movement of 2 Ukrainian armed forces infantrymen was detected. Then the Russian FPV drone moved in for attack and blew up the position. Archive footage. This is how the drone operators of the 39th Independent Guards Motorized Rifle Brigade of the 68th Guards Army Corps shot Ukrainian infantry in the trenches. The Grad MLRS of the 42nd Motorized Rifle Division of the Guard of the Dnieper Force Group enabled the Russian assault groups to advance in the direction of Orakovsky.
Прицел 700, угломер 53-40. Готов.
Russian drone operators revealed the Ukrainian Armed Forces UAV control point during reconnaissance. Then, using fiber optic drones, they destroyed the UAV control bunker. In addition, UAV antennas were also destroyed. Later, during aerial reconnaissance, attack drones found 2 S-1 Gvozdika self-propelled howitzer in the same direction and struck it in succession, destroying expensive equipment. One engineering equipment was also found and destroyed during the strikes. Artillery of the 29th Brigade of the 200th Brigade of the 200th Guards. All volunteer army hit an armed forces of Ukraine concentration area in the village of Bogatyr. After a direct hit by artillery, bombers of the 11th Guards Air Force and the Air Defense Army also hit the target with 2 FAB-500s. Near Pokrovsk, a bunker with infantrymen of the Armed Forces of Ukraine was found. The fiber optic drone quickly took off and broke the door of the bunker. The infantry then exited the bunker and set off to relocate. But the Russian infantry were following them. While in the open, the Russian infantry opened fire on the Ukrainian infantry, hitting 2 of the 4 Ukrainian soldiers. The other 2 survivors ran away and hid in a wooded area. While they were in the trees, Russian artillery opened fire, but the artillery could not hit them accurately. A Russian soldier from the 255th Regiment enters a Ukrainian bunker near Pokrovsk. First, he throws a few grenades, then he opens fire inside the bunker and slowly enters. Once inside, he turns the bunker into a safe area. Step by step, the Russian soldiers move forward. The 255th Regiment again spotted the infantry of the Ukrainian armed forces. Soon the coordinates were transmitted to the artillery unit. As a result of precise adjustments by the Russian artillery, the target was destroyed. Russian troops are advancing in the direction of Mirnohrad. Aircraft-type attack UAVs of the 14th Independent Guard Special Forces Brigade of the Vostok Group destroyed Ukrainian armed forces bunkers in the village of Otradnoye. UAV operators of the 35th Combined Arms Army Eastern Group struck a Ukrainian Armed Forces UAV checkpoint in the South Donetsk direction. The movement of Ukrainian Armed Forces infantry was detected in the immediate vicinity of the village of Gornal. These infantrymen, who were in temporary deployment points, were subjected to both artillery shelling and drone strikes. This group of Ukrainian infantrymen had to constantly relocate under intense attack. They were wounded, and several infantrymen were killed in each attack. Security in this village was restored, and the Russian flag was raised. Russian forces also destroyed armored vehicles and other ATVs that came to the rescue of the infantry in Gornal, preventing Ukrainian forces from attempting to attack in this direction. Don't forget to join our Telegram group. Chechen President Ramzan Kadyrov has released footage of the destruction of a Ukrainian armed forces group attempting to infiltrate the Kursk region from the Sumy region. Akhmat is a joint operation of 2 Special Forces brigades and 15 Tank Regiment. UAV operators of the 43rd Independent Special Forces Company of the Vostok Group and the 36th Independent Guards Motorized Rifle Brigade struck a Ukrainian Armed Forces ruined house in the settlement of Bogatyr. The house was destroyed. The condition of the infantrymen is currently unknown.